Hello everyone. Today we are going to study chapter 3 Kingdoms of the South AD 700 to AD 1200. New words to remember. Mandalam, a province of the Chola kingdom. Hereditary, a title or position that is acquired on account of blood relationship. Natar, district council. Nagarata, city council. Valanadu, a district under the Cholas. Brahmadeya, land gifted to Brahmins. Mutt, religious center set up by Shankaracharya. During the medieval period, a closer contact between the people of North and South India could be seen. This was made possible by two main developments. In the first place, the rulers both in North and in South India crossed in Vindhya mountains in order to expand their empires. Secondly, the teachings of Shankaracharya and other saints spread in every corner of the country. Early in the 9th century, Shankaracharya chose four places as center for his teachings: Badrinath in the north, Sringeri in the south, Dwarka in the west, and Puri in the east. These places are famous because Shankaracharya set up a mud monastery at each of them. The Deccan and the South India witnessed the rise of many kingdoms. It is difficult to trace the history of all these kingdoms. In this chapter, we shall make a brief mention of the Pallavas and then proceed to explain the rise of the Cholas. The Cholas dominated the political scene of South India for more than 2 centuries. The Pallavas of Kanchi. The origin of the Pallavas is unknown. The Pallava ruler Mahendravarman ruled from AD 600 to AD 630. The Pallavas were in continuous conflict with the Chalukyas, the Pandyas, the Cheras, and the Cholas. The Chalukya ruler Pulkeshin II defeated Mahendravarman and annexed his northern provinces. Mahendravarman was succeeded by Narsimhavarman. Under the Pallavas, Kanchi became a great center of Brahminical as well as Buddhist learning. The Pallava kings were patrons of art and architecture. The famous temples cut out of rock boulders known as rathas were built by them. The Shore temple at Mahabalipuram and the Kailashnath temple at Kanchi are best examples of architecture of this period. Narasimhavarman's son Rajasimha ruled for many years. Thereafter, their power declined. Finally, the Cholas defeated the Pallavas and became the dominant power in the south. Case study: The Cholas of the Thanjavur, AD 846 to AD 1279. The Cholas were originally the chieftains who were subordinate to the Pallava kings. They exercised power along the east coast of Tamil Nadu. One of their leaders, Vijayalaya, declared independence in AD 846. He established his rule over east coast with Tanjore as his capital. His grandson Prantaka I ruled for 48 years, AD 907 to AD 955. He defeated the Pandyas of Madurai and captured their kingdom. He extended the Chola rule as far as Nellore. It is said that he also defeated the ruler of Sri Lanka. This rapid rise had brought the Cholas in conflict with the Rashtrakuta king Krishna III. In AD 949, the Cholas suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of Krishna III. Rajaraja I, AD 985 to AD 1014. The Cholas regained their glory under Rajaraja I. He made himself the overlord of the whole of southern India, Sri Lanka, and other islands. The whole of the Chola territory was called Chola Mandala. The name Chola Mandal coast the name Coromandel Coast is derived from the word Chola Mandala. Rajaraja I was not only a great conqueror, he was also a capable administrator and a patron of arts and literature. Rajendra Chola, AD 1014 to AD 1044. Rajaraja I was succeeded by his son Rajendra Chola. He made his navy bigger and stronger and sent it out to conquer countries of Southeast Asia, Malaya, Java, and Sumatra. He even raided the Ganga Valley and defeated the Pala kings of Bengal. To mark this victory in the north, he took the title of Gangaikonda Chola, or the conqueror of the Ganga, and built a new capital called Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Rajendra Chola also built lakes and canals so that the farmers might always have water for their fields. The trade with Southeast Asia made the Chola Empire very prosperous. He was a great patron of arts and an able administrator. His reign is described as the golden age of Cholas. His naval expeditions to Southeast Asia was the first to be undertaken by an Indian king. The decline of the Cholas. The Chola Empire remained intact up to AD 1122. Thereafter, it began to decline as a result of constant wars with the Chalukyas. The Chalukya ruler Vikramaditya regained the control of Vengi. By the end of the 13th century, the Pandyas and the Hoysalas also proclaimed their independence. It finally became a part of the great Hindu kingdom of Vijayanagar in the 14th century. Chola administration. The Chola Empire was well administered. The king enjoyed power and glory. He had a group of ministers and high officials to help him. For administrative convenience, the kingdom was divided into provinces called mandalams, which were administered by governors. The mandalams in turn were divided into a number of districts called Valanadus. A Valanadu consisted of a group of villages. The lowest unit was the village or gramam. The most striking feature of Chola administration was the institution of popular assemblies at different levels. Assemblies at the district level was called Nattar. A big city also had its own assembly called Nagarata. These assemblies performed several administrative functions. Village administration. Villages enjoyed a large amount of freedom in the management of their affairs. Each village has two assemblies or councils. The Ur was the general assembly of all the villagers. The Sabha was a smaller body whose members were elected by all the villagers. The members of the Sabha were required to be educated, to be owners of land, and well versed in administrative matters. The method of election was that name slips of all candidates were mixed up in a pot, from which they were drawn one by a small boy. The results were announced by a village priest. The Sabha gathered taxes, regulated water supply, and managed all institutions such as tanks, lakes, temples, and schools. It also settled disputes between villagers. Association of traders. Associations of traders, craftsmen, and other vocational groups were known as nagarams. They would protect the interest of their members. Care of peasants. The Chola kings took good care of the peasants. The peasants were exempted from paying land revenue when their crops failed. Construction of tanks and canals helped in irrigating vast lands. They cleared the forests for building good roads and bringing more land under cultivation. In many regions, two crops were grown in a year. Sources of revenue. The Cholas collected revenue from peasants, traders, and merchants. Taxes on mines and duties on imported goods also brought in substantial revenue. Works of public utility. A part of the revenue was spent on the maintenance of royal family and maintenance of the army. The money collected by the rulers was spent on works of public utility such as building of roads, construction of tanks and irrigation system. Military administration. The Cholas created a powerful standing army and a strong navy. Their army consisted of archers, foot soldiers, horsemen, and war elephants. The navy helped in maintaining control over the islands and in protecting the sea routes. This was vital for maintaining commercial relations with other countries. Society. The caste system very much prevailed in southern India. The Brahmins received land grants called Brahmadeya. Their land was exempted from taxes. Besides the Brahmins, merchants had emerged as a powerful class. They owned a lot of wealth. The social status of the people called outcast was pitiable. They could not draw water from the common wells. Nor were they allowed to enter temples. The laborers in the towns worked hard all their life. Architecture of South India. The Chola kings and the rich merchants were great temple builders. Other rulers of Deccan and South India also built many magnificent temples. The Rathas and the Shore temple of Mahabalipuram under the Pallav rulers of Kanchipuram, two forms of temple architecture evolved in the south, the rock cut and the structural shrines. The Rathas of Mahabalipuram were built by King Narasimhavarman I of the Pallava dynasty. These shrines are called Rathas, each carved from a single massive stone. At a little distance is the Shore temple built by Narasimhavarman II. It was built with brick and mortar. Brihadeshwar temple at Thanjavur. The Brihadeshwar temple was built about AD 1000 by the Chola ruler Rajaraja I in honor of Lord Shiva. It was considered to be the biggest temple in South India. Its massive tower rises to a height of 57 meters and is shaped like a pyramid. It has 13 successive stories. The interior walls of the temple are decorated with paintings and magnificent sculptures. King Rajendra Chola erected a temple at his new capital, Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Hoysaleswar Temple, Halbit. The Hoysaleswar temple was built by Hoysaleswaras at Dwarasmundra, modern Halabit. They ruled between AD 1110 to AD 1310. It has richly carved interiors and exteriors. The doorways are covered with some of the best sculptures. Distinctive features of South Indian temples. The South Indian temples are best examples of Dravidian style of architecture. The Dravidian style of architecture differs from North Indian Nagada style in many respects. In northern India, bricks and mortar were used for building temples. They are called structural temples. The Dravidian temples are often carved from massive rocks. These temples have gateways called gopurams, which are not found in northern temples. The southern temples were centers of social and cultural activities. As such, they have bigger courtyards and worship halls as compared to those of northern temples. The activities associated with the Chola temples were music recitals, dance performance, and celebration of fairs and festivals during which various games and competitions were conducted. Services of many kinds of people, priests, singers, cooks, and garland makers were required for daily worship in the temples. The meetings of the village sabha were also held in the temple. Sculpture. The metalwork, especially bronze sculptures of the Cholas, are noted for their perfection, grace, and simplicity. The bronze image of Nataraja Shiva remains unsurpassed in grace and perfection to this day. Education, language, and literature. The temples became the center of learning, arts, culture, and literary activity. Secular subjects such as astronomy, grammar, medicine, and mathematics were also taught in schools maintained by the temples. Under the Chola rulers, much literature was created in Dravidian language like Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada. Kamban translated the Sanskrit epic Ramayana into Tamil in the 9th century. It came to be known as Kamban Ramayana. Religion. The Chora rulers were worshippers of Lord Shiva, but they were tolerant to other religious faiths. The most remarkable religious teacher of this age was Shankaracharya. He was born in Kerala. He travelled all over India to preach his philosophy of Advaita, non-duality of monism. In the 11th century, another great religious teacher, Ramanuja, preached bhakti or true devotion to God. In Tamil Nadu, the bhakti movement was led by Alvars and Nayanars. Alvar saints worshipped Vishnu and Nayanars were the devotees of Shiva. They composed devotional songs. They ignored all rituals and caste distinctions. To them, all human beings were equal in dignity. By 12th century, a new sect called Lingayat developed in the Karnataka region. It was started by Basava. The Lingayats worshipped Shiva Linga, the symbol of Lord's generative powers. Chola inscriptions. The Chola rulers' achievements are recorded on stone and copper plates. These inscriptions have been found at many places like Thanjavur, Thiruvalangandu, Trichy, etc. The inscriptions provide details of the various military campaigns launched by the Cholas. The inscriptions also tell us the way in which Gram Sabhas were organized or worked. The Chola inscriptions are in Tamil and Sanskrit. So this was our chapter Kingdoms of the South. If you have any doubt or query, you can ask me in the comment box below. Thank you everyone.